correctly.
All right. Good afternoon or morning, wherever you are in the world. My name is Reginal Lyerly, and I will be talking to you today about business capital. I also work closely with people on personal credit restoration. I tend to intertwine the two because they're both connected, especially those who are operating businesses, because people are oftentimes using their personal credit to guarantee things in their business. So the presentation that I'm going to put up, I'm going to explain in detail the different types of funding, who I'm partnered with, the different streams of funding, and how I help businesses get fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and put my slides up. And while I'll do that, I'll give you a little bit of background about me. Before I entered the area of business, I was in the Army from 1997 to 2020, and I was a religious affairs non-commissioned officer. I served in the Middle East on three different occasions throughout the course of my career, and I got to help a lot of people. I got to see a lot of things. And the main thing that it taught me is that life is precious, life is vital, it's important, and whatever that you do in life, do it to the best of your ability. Give to your family, but more importantly, give back to the community that you're at. Please let me know if you can see my slides. I've just shared my screen. You should be able to see my slides, and if you're
Yes.
able, okay, if you're able to see them, then
Uh,
I will.
Everybody can see his slides. Liz?
Okay, got one yes. Liz says she can.
Okay. Ebony? Yes. Okay.
Okay, just want to make sure it's a successful screen share for all concerned, so that the information I got here is important. As I stated in the in the introduction, sometimes personal credit and business credit falls hand in hand, and here's why that. And I'll just give a brief overview as far as why that's important. If you look at personal credit, there's five different things that make up a credit score. 35% of it is the credit history. 30% of it is the amount that's owed. 10% is the type of credit that it is. 15% is the length of credit history, and 10% is the mix of different types of credit, whether it's revolving credit, installation credit, different types of credit, and how that goes. When we look at business growth, I also want to show that where credit scores are very important. To get this type of funding, a business owner doesn't have to have an 800, but it does pay for a business owner if they want to get this type of funding. If they don't have the credit score they feel they need, not to worry. There's ways to help get that to that level and then be able to get that funding. So without further delay, let me get to the gist of this. Okay, with business capital, it's very important. I'm an independent agent for David Allen Capital Incorporated. They pride themselves on being the people who say yes when the banks say no. And there's three very important facts as far as why business capital is needed. 60% of businesses are either breaking even or usually operating in the red from month to month. Banks are usually so stringent on their standards that only percentages of business who apply can qualify outright for funding. And the two top reasons are typically either they either have no or insufficient collateral, or they may not have enough revenue uh, to the point that the bank will say, yes, we will help you in this way. And if you haven't looked at recent events, inflation has an impact not just on consumers, but also on businesses. You see, and businesses are often consumers of items to be able to supply their businesses. And with that, those costs rise. And oftentimes those costs get passed on to the customer. So just wanted you just to share some key facts on that. Okay, have three different ways that we use to help fund businesses. The first one is through Giggle Finance. This specializes in funding under 5K. And then you have Biddy Advance. This specializes in funding under 25K. And then you have Bank Breezy that specializes in funding between $25,000 and 2 million. And I'm going to just give a brief overview of each one and which one they do. What you see here is the funding for independent contractor and gig worker funding. Anybody that receives their income through a 1099 um, will most likely be able to qualify for this funding. In the slide, it's instant online funding up to 5,000. The approval amount is usually 20 to 25% of the monthly revenue. The repayment amount is in there. It's a shorter term fix, so the repayment amount is and the term is relatively shorter than the other types fundings because the it okay. Pardon the interruption. For many businesses, if they do this option, the amount is smaller, so it won't take as long for it to pay back. And usually, it's like a weekly repayment, depending on the amount. What's good about this is you can use the business owner is allowed to either use their personal or checking account to attain this funding because you have some independent contractors, people that work for Lyft, they work for Uber, they use their personal account as a way for their revenue to go to. They have to already have their online banking set up. They have to be in business at least 3 months. They have to generate at least 3,000 plus in sales. And another one of the requirements is that they have to make 4 deposits per month. There are a lot of people that take advantage of this. Anybody that receives a 1099 that's an independent contractor. So even network marketers can apply for this type funding as well, and many do and have been successful in being able to get this type of funding. This one is Bank Breezy through Biddy Advance. This is usually for your small businesses, but not typically your large businesses. I never dissuade anyone from applying for any specific type funding. I say apply, have all your documents together, and see if there's a solution to meet your needs. For this particular funding, it's same day funding up to 25,000. The approval amount is usually up to 75% of the person's revenue, of the business's revenue. So, in the example is if the person's monthly revenue is 10,000, they're probably able to get approved for up to 7,500 of that. And the repayment terms are usually between 4 and 6 months, and it has an automatic daily payment. A lot of people use this because they know they're going to make their money back and more. It's just a matter of keeping fuel in their business. The minimum requirements, a business checking account is needed for this. So this type of funding, a personal account won't be allowable for this type of business funding. But we have different ones for different needs. Online banking does have to be set up. 6 months in business is the optimal amount of time in business. What's ideal is that the business is doing close to 5,000 or more monthly sales. The owner has to have a FICO score of 550 or higher, and these are your basic requirements as far as what is needed to qualify for this particular type funding. Let me go to the next one here. This is our larger funding through David Allen Capital, Bank Breezy. This is fast online funding up to $2 million. The approval amount is generally 1 to 2 times of the monthly income. So just as an example, if a business is generating 100,000 in income, then whatever that amount is, they should be able to get 1 to 2 times that, depending on what the revenue amount is. The terms for repayment is typically longer because the amounts are larger. And so that's anywhere between a 4 to 24-month term. A business checking account is required for this type of funding, and it must be in the name of the business that's applying. And so a personal account won't be allowed for this type of funding. The online banking has to be set up. They have to be in business a minimum of 4 months or more. Their monthly revenue has to be in the amount of 15,000 or more. The owner has to have a credit score of 500 or higher. And these are the basic requirements as far as this type of funding and how that goes. Before I end this, I just want to leave you with this. Events create adrenaline, but processes create change. We do things to take care of our families and our community. Events are great. And during the course of the year, you're going to have a lot of events. Either you're going to see it on social media, you're going to see it in person. And that's going to create adrenaline. People are going to get excited, and it's going to incite movements. As business owners, part of that adrenaline is to get that fuel that aids the processes to create change. That is what makes me very proud to be able to help other business owners to be able to get fuel for their businesses so they can take care of their communities, so consumers can get what they need, and so that business owners can take care of their families and be able to continue to stay in business. All right. Well, my last slide here. I'm Reginald G. Lyerly, and these are my phone numbers. This is my business email, and this is my Set More link to be able to set up an appointment with me. If there is a business owner out there that is looking to this type of funding, I will definitely welcome a consultation with them so I can be in listening mode, so I can find out what you need, find out if there's a solution, and so that we can take care of the public's needs. Because if I can assist you with your needs, you're going to be able to take care of the community's needs. It is a win-win situation for us all. Unless there are any questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop share. And this concludes my presentation on business capital, who I'm partnered with, what we do, and how we help people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So any questions, Liz, Ebony, any questions?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys need to get together and see if Liz qualifies, and Ebony, you all need finances. And also, I will put together a grant list. Now, there's a difference between a loan and a grant. A grant, you don't have to pay back, and the loan, you have to pay back. Now, Verizon is offering $10,000 to any business, no matter what size. It's just based on your business plan. So I'll encourage everybody to apply for that 10,000 because there is a chance that you could get it. It's all about your personal story and your struggle, and it's just given on that merit. So I want you to be conscious of that. So any more questions?
I have a question for Reginald. Reginald, thank you so much for your presentation. I really appreciate your adequate and very comprehensive perspective of that. And meanwhile, many businesses who are just coming out of this pandemic now understand that they really have to get serious about, positioning payroll. They need to position their revenue models and also set the framework to go after and develop new business. At the end of the day, is there a framework on what kind of businesses you finance? Tell us about that and what kind of turnaround we're looking at. And also in the application process, if there are things that we need to make sure that applicants include, because typically I tend to favor, giving them all information they can have and making sure that they don't have any unanswered questions when it comes to these kind of applications. But share with us some information about that if you want.
Okay. As far as the types of businesses who can apply for this type of funding, most businesses can apply. Of course, there are going to be some businesses that, due to like a moral clause or whatever, they're not going to be able to apply. And I'll just be very specific. If there are businesses that produce pornographic material, they will not be allowed to apply. Or anything that involves any type of illegal activity, they will not be able to apply. But as far as any other type businesses, the rest of the businesses are all encouraged to apply. This is the thing that I would advise any business or any business owner when they're applying for this type of funding. One of the key important things as far as the funding, because every single one of them, whether it's as an independent contractor, whether it's the funding for up to $25,000, or whether it's the funding that's up to $2 million, all of them require some type of an account. So I advise people who they're going to do that, be able to get, if they don't have their statements on file, I highly recommend that they go get them. They may look at them, they may not go into heavy scrutiny about them, but you can't tell someone when you're applying that you have an online account but don't have records that speak to that. And so we look at that. That's going to let who's ever looking at the funding application know, hey, does this person generate the revenue that's going to qualify them for this? If a person does that, then there's not going to be any surprises before we start the application process, the review process, and then subsequently the funding process. Hopefully that answered the question on that. Okay. Well, hopefully I was able to answer the question regarding the types of businesses and the types of funding.
Yes,
And
yes.
okay, and if there's anyone else that has questions, I'd be glad to entertain them on the Zoom, or they can contact me at any time, and I will ensure that my information is within this Zoom for whoever is on, so that so they're welcome to contact me if they have any questions, anything I can help them with, and it's just good to help businesses to grow and to be able to stay in business, to be able to pay their employees, to be able to get the things that they need, and to be able to continue things that's going to help their generation. Because you have a lot of businesses, they pass on things to their next generation, and this is one of those things that it may be a short-term fix, maybe a long-term fix, but it's going to aid in that process. It's just that people need to know where to turn to be able to go and get it.
Absolutely. And the good news is that Reginald doesn't charge. So it's free. And he will sit with you and he will organize all your paperwork so that you don't put anything that will definitely raise a flag or have you rejected. He's going to do all this for free. The application for the loan is free. So there's nothing stopping you from getting this. And besides this, as I said before, you can contact me. I'll make sure that I have some grants available as well. But I need you to go through Reginald first, even for the grant writing, because we want to make sure that your business plan, your paperwork is in order. And then even for getting a business grant, you still need to have all that paperwork. So once you get that filed, then you can get a number of others filed. So that way, as he says, when the banks say no, we say yes. So we can definitely help you get your finances or get you resources for what you need to get you through this time. So make sure you contact him first and then you come to me. So that's the order. Any more questions? Okay, so I have Delanda and she has to leave because she takes care of her mother. Delanda, do you want us to record you today? Are you available for recording or?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, fabulous. Because I know you have to run. So we'll do her and then we'll come back to Liz and Daryl and Ebony and Michael's videos. All right, so let me quickly put her up there. Oh, look at her background. Awesome. Wonderful. Okay,
It
let
needs some
me,
more work. Do I see the book is like off the edge? From my view, it is anyway.
well, let me stop. Let me stop